Hello, everybody, and welcome to Highway of the Hidden. I'm your host, Polar Bear, and on tonight's episode, we have Darkside Paranormal, Tank, Teejay, and Joe. How y'all doing, fellas?
Doing
So,
good,
man,
Doing
man.
good, man.
great.
It's great to have y'all on. So, y'all are based out of Corpus, Texas, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
Corpus Christi.
All right, all right. So, if y'all would go through and tell us what got y'all started into paranormal, what got y'all going, or what brought y'all
Uh,
together as a team too, as well.
I guess I'll start because we can go in like order here. So like literally, I used to be part of a team, help lead a team. Now it's probably been about 10 years before that, but I just always wanted to get back into it, and so I knew TJ and another friend that we used to be with us, and I basically just hit them up and I was like, man, I used to do this stuff. Y'all ever be interested in getting into it with me? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And Joe came in like maybe a month later. We were co-hosting an investigation with the Kling brothers on the Lexington. It was a big group thing for Corpus, and our other guy that was with us, he brought Joe, and he's like, "Hey, this guy wants to do it too." And we're like, "Okay, cool." And then that's kind of the history.
Right on, right on.
Anyway, no, I'm Joe.
I'm sorry. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
like you said, like I came in about a month after they officially formed the group. I earned my stripes the hard way with Mike not liking me at first, and now we're inseparable.
Right.
Uh, I guess about 6 months to almost a year ago, maybe they took a vote without me and voted me as lead investigator. So I'm kind of not sure what to do with that, but I'll take it.
Right, right.
But yeah, we have a blast, man. Even my wife gets jealous. She's like, "You're always talking to them." I'm like, "It's we're trying to build something here." So
Yeah.
yeah, we have a good time, man. We click very like really well. There's not much that we disagree on when it comes to the way we investigate. So
That's good. That's good. All right, TJ, what about you, buddy?
What's up, man? I got into the paranormal when I was like about 14 years old. I grew up in Mineral Wells, and Weatherford. There's a little place called Baker Hotel. I don't know if you're used to it, but me and my friends used to always just trespass in there. Bad kids, not really that bad, but we were interested in it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, we just used to go in there, and I had my situations in there, man. I've heard some voices. I didn't believe it at first. I was skeptic. And then I kept on going back and just kept on happening. So I was like, damn, I kind of got into it. And then maybe a few years later, I moved back down South Texas, and I guess Ghost Adventures like came on, and I got really into it because of Ghost Adventures before they went all fake. No,
Yeah.
I'm just playing. But I mean, well, that's the truth, you know. But yeah, I was really into it. And then I met Mike, and then Mike was like, "Yo, bro, let's start this paranormal thing, bro." I was like, "All right, bet, let's do it, bro." So me, him, and I'm not gonna say the other person. That's another friend of ours. But we had went out to this little place in the middle of nowhere. It was
Oh
like a
yeah.
little plantation house. You remember the name of it, dude?
No, I don't, but I
I
do
don't remember
remember
the
the
name of
house.
it. It was just in the middle. Yeah, it was middle of nowhere. Crazy. So that was our first investigation, and a couple months after that, it kind of burned down.
Oh, wow.
On
And
its
Wow.
after
own,
that,
like
we just started like
absolutely
just
weird.
booking and booking. Yeah, bro.
That is
So that's what
wild.
really got me into it, man.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
do y'all go everywhere, like across the U.S., or y'all strictly Texas only?
We're pretty much strictly in
as of,
Texas right now.
yeah, I was gonna say as of now, strictly Texas. It's
Definitely
not that we
Texas.
can't go anywhere. It's just we got jobs and
Right.
financially we want to branch out, but it takes money, and
It
that's why we're
does.
trying
It
to build
does.
a platform. Yeah.
So, do y'all do like if somebody calls y'all and says, "Hey, I need help with this," or do y'all do y'all's own investigations? Like y'all go out and look for it?
We've
Both.
been hit up plenty
Both.
of times,
Yeah.
especially people hitting us up for businesses or like, "Hey, my house, I feel like this is in it. I'm having strange noises," and we always enjoy those because if you're not used to it or you don't know what it is, it can be terrifying. You know what I mean? Your automatic reaction can be to be scared and like, "Oh, it's a demon" or "It's something horrible," and that's not always the case. So yeah, we love the whole residential investigation, the whole business side of it, as far as like going to businesses and helping those people out. Maybe try to find some answers. And we've even had a few where it's actually nothing paranormal. I remember one location, this lady had an apartment, and she was like, "Man, I keep seeing things and I keep hearing things and blah blah blah." And we're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go check it out." Well, not saying that she was maybe not completely hearing anything, but at one point, Joe and I in our closet found this huge piece of exposed electrical wire, and it was putting off huge radio EMF waves into her bedroom. And that's where she said she started to hear and see the most stuff. And we told her, did you know about this wiring in here? And she's like, no. And we're like, it's producing really high EMF readings. And so, like, these electric waves could be affecting your mental and physical side also. And yeah, I mean, that was something cool because it was like we're helping her figure out something, a reason that it's not paranormal. So we're not those guys that are like, oh, yeah, it's a demon. You got a damn ghost in here,
Right.
trying to rile them up. If it's a logical explanation, then it's a logical explanation. Sometimes that's what it is.
Right.
Definitely.
I think a lot of people like to say demon just I think man and I guess because they're uneducated about it, but it's very I am from my experience in watching and listening and learning is that it's very rare that you really run into a demon in a household. I think it's
Yeah, and I, like from all the things that we've done, every place that we went, we're pretty sure we've only ran into a demon one time, and it was unlike anything like
Yeah.
these other residual hauntings or even intelligent hauntings. It's totally different. You know whether it's a demon or not. That night we definitely knew it wasn't something just paranormal. It was darker.
right. You mind explaining like what like what kind of energy it gave off or what like,
Horrible, horrible energy. I would say if you take depression times anxiety times PTSD, like all that together, that's the kind of energy it was given off. It had all of us on edge that night. And I'll let Mike tell the story about how it all began because it all began with something that we had never done before and we should never do again, but we might have to. But I'll let you
all right.
start that story.
All right.
So, like, to compress the story, so you understand, like, just talking about this encounter that we're talking about. We're talking about Hill House Manor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So in Hill House Manor in Gainesville, Texas, we went there. And when we say that demons are very smart, or when I say tell people that demons are very smart, you have to look how all of this transpired to lead towards the night to get us vulnerable and to get us in the situation that we were in later. We were set up and we didn't even know it. That's how smart an actual demon can be. So remember I mentioned to you before we started the podcast about Sloss Furnace in Alabama?
Right.
Okay, so one of the big deals with that is that they had a demonic entity there. There were some psychic mediums and spiritual people of that nature that had drawn this demon to some blessed salt. And their thing to get rid of it, or their way they were going to try to get rid of the attachment, was put the salt into different little containers and separate it from the location. And everyone that investigated that night got little containers of this blessed salt that supposedly had this demon attachment to it. Now, I did see stuff and hear stuff and everything at the Sloss Furnace that I would describe as demonic. So I had no reason to doubt it. Anyway, I had a vial of this salt, and I always have it with me on location. It's just something that always stays in my bag. I don't know. It's been part of my kit ever since. And we
Right.
always made the joke like, "Hey, let's open the salt. Hey, let's play with the salt." You know what I mean? But it was more like, "We're not going to
Yeah.
do that. We're just messing around." And so another guy that we had with us, who's no longer with us, he started feeling ill beginning of the night, and he was diabetic. So we're like, well, maybe it's his diabetes acting up, blah blah blah. So he out of nowhere says, I want to open the salt. And I'm like, haha, yeah, we all want to open the salt. And he's like, no, I'll open it. So Joe's like, if he opens it, I'll taste it. So I'm like, well, if he tastes it, I'm gonna taste it, you know.
Oh
And
God.
so
Okay.
again, don't do any of this. We're not recommending this, but so we all do this. We all have a laugh. We tasted the salt. We had a laugh. We're like, ha 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 ha. Nothing really was going on in the house, and then I want to say it was about 1:30ish in the morning. I'm in the room that they describe as the murder room. That's what it's called. And I'm doing an EVP session, and I get an EVP that is Joe's wife's voice talking, clear as day. There was no mistaking it was his wife's voice. And so I kind of stopped and I was like, huh. So I showed Joe and I'm like, is this your, tell me what you hear. And he's like, that sounds like Lisa. That sounds like my wife. And I was like, I got that from the room. And he's like, what the hell? And so now he's
Yeah.
upset and he goes in there and he's like asking questions. And sometimes when you do an EVP, as some people will notice, you get a response, you don't get a response. We were getting responses. Like every question we answered, we were getting a response. And it was an ugly, disgusting voice. It was giving us his name. It was cussing at us, telling us what it was going to do. It would laugh at us. Like we were getting all sorts of shit. And so Joe comes out. He's like, yeah, I'm getting all these responses. I go in there with him and the other guy. We go in there. We're getting responses. And like I said, it was so spot on. You were getting responses. And it's like we were just talking, communicating openly like we are now. And I have never experienced that in my life. I'll tell you that. And I was like, this is weird. The whole room got a totally different vibe. Like Joe said, it was like anxiety, anger, frustration, I mean, anything you can think of. And I actually started to get like fear. And I'm not trying to be a tough guy, but I don't get afraid often. And so we all go to the living room, and it's like that energy was like filling the house. And I went with one more time, and I was trying to be like, hey, look, basically, we don't want any trouble. We're just here to try to communicate. Why are you messing with us? And it said that it wanted us to die. And when it said that, I remember like, nah, like we need to get out of the house for a little bit. And sure enough, we took a break outside, which I think that's the second time we've ever done that. Maybe third time. Anyway, until we got that break from the house and went outside of the property, kind of hung, stood around, blah, blah. We all felt like depressed, like angry, anxiety, like all that feeling. We all had that. And then it went away. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So you think like the salt brought it out, or do you think it was already there? And
I would like to say,
Tough one.
yeah, because I would like to say the salt had something to do with it because we've been back to that location since and didn't do the salt and have never had
right.
that happen again. But who's not to say that because we were actually opening up the channel with, oh, I want to talk to the demon, I want the demon salt, that something didn't just say, well, if you want me, I'll come find you, because that can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old saying, if you call on it long enough.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that night we have this app that we use that's no longer available to download, but we keep it on our phones. And that night we got this blood curdling
Oh
scream
yeah.
that came through that. And ever since then, it's been following us. We get that scream everywhere we go now.
Oh wow.
We can't explain it. It's the same pitch, it's the same female scream, but the scream is always a little bit different every time. And that's followed us around since that night.
Yeah.
Do you think it's attached to one of y'all's devices or one of y'all? Or all of y'all?
It might be us, to be honest. TJ wasn't there, so it's either me or Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or both of us. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
since
And
we
like,
both
if you,
tasted the salt, it might be attached to us.
and
Yeah.
that's my personal opinion. I think it's us as people because we messed with it, and it's its kind of way of letting us know, like, I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like, don't forget that I'm here.
Right.
And and we've told people that story before, and there's been people, very seasoned investigators, that have been over to Hill House Manor that have never ever had an experience like that. They don't describe anything like that, but when we show them recordings and videos from that night, they're like, damn, we've never heard of anything that dark there. So I don't know what the change was that night, but there was definitely something different.
Something different. And where is Hill House Manor? Where it's
Jacksonville?
Gainesville.
No,
Gainesville?
that's Bolton.
Yeah.
That's Gainesville.
Gainesville, that's
Mhm.
right. That's
Yeah.
what is that by? I can't remember.
Like
I
North
think I
Up
know where.
Dallas.
north, that's all I know.
Yeah,
Dallas.
by
It's up
Dallas.
towards Dallas,
Okay.
ain't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what So what are some of the more interesting places? Like that was a good, like y'all have investigated like a more famous place. Have y'all ever done like the Alamo or something like that? Like what's a famous place y'all have done? Not so
So when
interesting,
we
but famous place.
the Lexington was really cool. I'm not going to say it was like action packed. We got a lot of stuff all night because there was a lot of people. It was a big event. There was like over 100 people broken into groups that were investigating. But for me, one of the coolest things that happened that night was we had a portal that was going in one of the downstairs like barracks areas, and we weren't getting anything, and it was kind of like, maybe we're not going to get anything. And there was a bunch of people, and there was a lot of noise, and we're like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, there was like 30 to 45 seconds of what sounded like a major battle going on. You could hear gunfire, you could hear bombs, you could hear people screaming, you could hear men yelling, giving orders. We thought somehow we had tuned into a radio station, and we're like, what the hell? So at that point, we're messing with the portal, trying to get something, change the reverb, trying to get a little bit different. And that's the only thing that came through. And like I said, it was only for about 30 or 45 seconds. But I remember when that was going on, everyone in the group was just like staring at our box because they're like, man, the tour guide, he was like, that sounds like a battle going on. And I was like, yeah, that's
Right.
insane. And that's what happened with the Lexington. It was involved in battles, So we're like, damn, did we just patch into something? That was cool.
That's cool. Have y'all done Bowden Road out there in Huntsville?
Are we
Mm-mm.
talking about Martha
No,
Chapel?
we came close to Huntsville though.
Yeah, that leads up to Martha Chapel Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've read the online. I've had some buddies that had some weird stuff happen out there. But y'all are the first people I've met that's actually investigated out there. Y'all.
yeah.
So
We've
y'all
been there a
catch
couple
anything?
times. Yeah,
Did y'all
we
catch
had
anything?
something following us.
Yeah.
We were walking down the road, and literally off to the right of us,
You see
we heard
lanterns, right?
footsteps just basically tracking us. And we would stop. We heard a couple more footsteps, and it would stop. Then we'd start walking again, and we hear it like keeping pace with us. And we shine our flashlights over there. There's nothing. I mean, so that road is. I think the road is almost as creepy as the cemetery itself. Like
Yeah.
Super
it's eerie.
creepy.
Yeah,
It
that's
is back there. Like if you don't know what's there, you will never know what's there.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one they nicknamed Demon Road. Yeah, that one's
Yep.
Yeah, the Demon Road.
yeah. We always heard stories about it, and then like I said, my buddies went there. Oh man, it's had been like 10 something years ago, and they were like, yeah, it's definitely had some. They got chased out by like an old truck, and they said they turned around and looked, and nobody was behind them,
Oh
and
shit.
it started at the cemetery. Yeah, it started chasing them at the cemetery, and once they got to a certain point, it was gone. And I was like, and that's when I started doing like researching it, and I was like, oh wow. And then it turned out there's story after story after story.
Joe's
Yeah. The
But
band.
last
If
time
y'all
we
don't
went
remember,
out there. Oh yeah. The band shutting off on me.
yeah,
That
we
was
stopped in the
creepy.
middle of the road and we turned the windows down and we turned off the no, we didn't turn off the truck. That's right. We were just with the windows down, looking into the
Yeah,
wooded
we put.
area, and it's like 3 or 4 in
Yeah,
the
because
morning.
I stopped. I saw something. I saw something walk in front of me, like as I was going towards the cemetery. So I stopped the van, turned the radio off, air condition off, windows down. I was like, let's just sit here, see if we hear something. And all of a sudden, my van just shut down. Like
Yeah.
engine, everything just shut down. And
Hey,
usually when
remember
it
the
does that,
creepy?
like if I push the button to turn it off, the indoor, like the inside lights will come on.
mm,
Nothing. Like it just shut off and nothing came on. I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's badass.
Hey, y'all remember that creepy face we caught right when we first got there?
That was the
That's
first
the
time we
first
went
time we
there.
got there. Yeah, it's still
The
daylight.
first time we ever went, and within the first like maybe what was it, maybe 30 minutes we were there,
If
we had
that,
caught
yeah.
a face inside the woods there, and we have it on a camera, and we look down, we go back up, and it's just gone. It was just unexplainable. It was weird,
Joe
and it
caught
had
that,
really
yeah.
like black eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're the one
it
that
was
caught
like
it.
it was about 15 foot up in the air.
Mm.
So I mean, it wasn't a person.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. Jack, if you really
um,
saw his eyes, it was like sunken in eyes. Like it was creepy.
oh wow. Have y'all done any investigations out in Galveston, like with the Galvez or anything like that? I know there's the man on the wall that they try to
Mm.
sandblast his face, and and it won't go away. I've seen it myself. Like, I forget how many they do it like every 2 or 3 years. They'll sandblast it. It's right back. And I forget the story of it, but he got robbed of the building. I think, as they took it from him and or
Yeah.
undercut him, and that one. So what are some? Have you ever? I like to ask this question because I know everyone wants to hear the scary stuff, but have you ever had a friendly ghost, like a Casper almost, like a friendly encounter with this entity?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
we've
had
had peaceful
kids.
encounters.
A lot of kids.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I recently just had one when we went to what is it, the Haunted Hill House,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I,
Oh
I
yeah,
had a little interaction with Joshua, which is the little kid that was in there that they had kept captive inside a room.
Oh wow.
Um, So supposedly he doesn't like guys. So I had went in there with these two females and they kind of like talked to him and I kind of like sweet talked to him too. And he kind of warmed up to me after that. And I got a little video of us like kind of interacting with him and it was like intelligent answers like right away. We were like asking it to come here. Like she said that she felt him touching his hand. It was a great encounter. It was like very friendly, like nothing too scary about it, but you could tell like you could feel it, it was
Yeah,
there.
definitely
Like
there.
it was just yeah, definitely. And you could just feel the sadness in that room right then and there. The emotions, I guess, from everything that happened in that room.
Yeah,
But yeah, like she started tearing. She didn't want to leave the room at all either, bro. So it was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
that's definitely sad. And that was the Hill House, you said?
Hill House, yeah.
yeah.
Haunted Hill House
Haunted Hill
in Mineral
House.
Wells.
Haunted Hill House,
Mineral Wells, Texas.
Mineral Wells. There's a, there's a, is that the hotel or is that where's the big haunted hotel that?
That's Baker. That's right across the street.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Baker. Yeah, that's
Literally.
that's the one they say you can smell the cigar smoke if you go up to what the top floor, right?
All the way to the
Yeah.
top. Yes.
Okay.
It's still there too. You can smell it. I'm pretty sure. I've smelled it before. It's definitely it's there, man.
I mean, we've been asked for
So,
help before too.
yeah, say again.
I'm sorry, we've been asked for help too from spirits before. Nothing scary, but we had a lot of "help me" or "I was killed here," responses, uh, telling
Hmm.
us how they were killed in some instances, like murdered, and it goes along with the story that the owners have told us or given us the history of. And so, at sometimes it's like one of those things, or again, where it's like if from the skeptics that are like, oh, that's all made up, that's all bullshit, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, well, then how did those two things match up? You know what I mean? Like, we're
Mhm.
not programming something before we ever go to a location to give us those exact answers, those exact responses, and we never know the history of something fully until we get there. That's how we like to keep things. We kind of like to go in there blind. We get a history right before,
Mhm.
or sometimes we tell people we don't want to know anything. So when we get an answer and we give it to them, they're like, "Man, that's this, or that's what happened this time, or that was the history of this room," and it just provides a more like reliable experience that you had a connection. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like the place we're going to this weekend. Chris, she's a great host up in Wichita Falls. I was messaging with her. She's like, "Hey, we got a lot of new, you know, spirits that are becoming more vocal and telling us stuff." And she's like, "Do you guys want to know who the spirits are or what they say?" And I'm like, "Just tell us the hot spots, like where they are." I was like, "We don't want to know any names, history, like because that validates not only the spirits, it it validates their claims and it validates the authenticity of what we do as well."
Right.
Yep.
So when you say like that's got to be pretty sad though, hearing about like someone that's gotten murdered and they come on and tell you. Do they ever tell you who did it or how do they? You know, like what do you do with the
We
information when they tell it to you?
some of it has already been known, and the fact that they say
Mm.
who's done it and that we've got
Right. 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 I feel I feel like it'd be more that wouldn't be scary. I think it'd be more sad than anything, you know, because they know that they died in a very brutal way most of the time if they've been murdered, and that's they just you know it's a cease to exist one day like that, you know, and that's very sad. Especially, I'm sure when it comes to like children being murdered and stuff like that, it's probably pretty hard to listen to them when they tell you that an EVP,
Hmm.
you know. So, yeah. Have y'all figured out a way to try to like get them out, or is there a way? I mean,
I'm sure there is a way. We're just there to investigate. I mean,
yeah,
if you know, a lot of the psychic mediums and stuff like that, that's more what they do. They get in there and
yeah,
try to, cross them over. I would be probably doing a disservice trying to do that 'cause I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just there to investigate,
right.
get evidence and facts, and that's what we do.
Have y'all ever had anything? No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Right. 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 A team of priests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have have you have you ever had anything violent happen to you though while y'all were investigating?
Oh yeah, we've been scratched, pushed, grabbed,
Objects
you
thrown
name
in.
it. Yeah,
So,
that
so,
stuff thrown at us, everything. So yeah.
so y'all have had like the works like where something's like get out and it throws it at you,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's is it usually just like a grumpy spirit or like like a I don't know how to say it like a wannabe evil spirit I guess.
Yeah, or things that we pissed off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't want you in their space. That's pretty cool, man. That's well, I guess not cool, but it's interesting, you know, to say the
Oh
least.
yeah.
And if especially for the people that say, "Oh, it's not real," like if they don't think it's real, then just go stand in one of those places. You know,
Oh
that's what
yeah.
I and let something get thrown at their
Hmm.
head or something where they can't see, and then we'll see if they're a believer after that. But for them just to totally write it off and say it's not real, that's where I don't get it. I don't get how you can say, "Oh man, this isn't real." Like spirits have
Yeah.
been
I used to
spirit.
have a guy that worked with me, and he was like, "Ah, that stuff's not real." He was an older Hispanic man, probably in his 50s. He's like, "That stuff's not real." I'm like, "Well, why don't you come on an investigation with us sometime?" Hell no, I ain't gonna do that. I'm like, if it's not real, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, right. That's what I don't get.
Scared, man. He's scared. I'm so scared.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
They only put like nothing but his name in there, right? So you just pulled out and it was just nothing but his names. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not even. Like literally, he walked into the lobby area, and we were watching him on the live, and he gave him a walkie-talkie, a flashlight, and the live feed. And yeah, he got into the lobby area, maybe 5 steps into it, and he calls us on the walkie-talkie. He's like, "Guys, I want to, but my legs just won't let me." He's like, I can't do it." I'm like, "Come on, man!" But yeah, so
Hey,
he's
he didn't
sending
even want to go in
everybody
there and
that way.
save our friend. Remember?
Yeah.
Our
Oh my
friend was like,
goodness.
I guess he was feeling like a chest pains or something. And our friend is like a nurse, right? He's a nurse, right? So
Yeah.
he was like, my chest hurts, right? And like at first he was like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, go in there, bro. Uh,
Just go in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what's y'all's absolute favorite place to investigate? Like, y'all love to go there.
Oh man, I've loved every place so far, man. I really do. Mm.
Right.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Right.
Oh
Sixth Realm
yeah.
House.
Definitely.
And they have a bunch of serial killer artifacts. Man, I wonder if it was one of those guys. That's or one of the serial killers. Well, most of them are men, but I wonder if it was one of those serial killers.
It's quite possible. I mean, they got stuff there, from Richard Ramirez, the
Oh
Teejay
yeah,
killer, like postcards and hand etched, stuff from them on the walls. So
Hmm.
yeah. Richard Ramirez. That dude was something different. He was from El
uh,
Paso.
mhm.
I watched a little documentary on him, and it was a YouTube documentary, but it was really good. And yeah, he used to hang out in the cemetery from like a young age on up, and they interviewed one of his school friends, and they said he was very strange, even as like a little kid. They didn't know he would do that, but they said he was very strange.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. It's kind of like a guessing game. Like you don't know what's going to come through. It could be good or it could be completely evil. You never know. Or right there in the middle.
Definitely.
Most
That's
definitely.
that's awesome, guys. Well, I don't want to tie y'all up. I know y'all have things to do. I appreciate y'all coming on. If y'all want to shout out y'all social or how people can get a hold of y'all if they have, if they want y'all to come investigate their property, if y'all would, y'all can go ahead.
Yeah, definitely follow us on We got TikTok, Instagram. Our biggest followings on Facebook, just under Darkside Paranormal. It's DARKSEID. So Darkside Paranormal. Check us out. We always go live on every investigation, and we upload clips that evidence that we find. So.
All right. That's awesome, guys. I appreciate y'all coming on. I really do.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for sharing y'all story. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Have a good one.
No
All right,
problem. Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Later.
Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. If you'd like to be on the show, remember, shoot me an email. My email address is polarbearhoth@gmail.com. Also, you can reach out to me on the socials, TikTok and Instagram, polarbearhoth, or follow the new Facebook page, Highway of the Hidden.